You ever get that uneasy gut feeling? You can't prove anything, but you know something's off. She's smiling at her phone, she's more distant in bed, and you start asking yourself, am I losing her to someone else? Most men ignore these signals until it blows up in their face. That's how they lose their edge, their confidence, and sometimes even their dignity. Here's the reality. Women rarely admit when they've crossed that line. They won't say it, but their actions will. And if you know the signs, you can catch the truth before it crushes you. In this video, I'll expose the 10 signs a woman shows when she's cheating with another man. Miss even one of them, and you might miss the truth. As a psychologist and relationship coach, I've worked with countless men who came to me only after the damage was done. They all said the same thing. I knew something was off, but I ignored it. Don't make that mistake. Subscribe, hit like, and share in the comments. If you've ever caught a small sign that later turned into something bigger, your story matters because it helps other men recognize the patterns before it's too late. And right now, I'm about to reveal the first sign that almost always slips under the radar. Number 1, longer absences. One of the first red flags that sneaks into a man's life is the sudden increase in her absences. Out of nowhere, she starts working late. She's got new friends you've never heard of before. She suddenly has events, meetings, business trips that didn't exist until recently, and you're left sitting there asking yourself, where the hell did all this come from? Let me tell you something straight. Women don't just vanish from the relationship calendar without reason. When a woman starts carving out large chunks of time away from you, it's not just because she's busy. It's often because she's busy making space for someone else. That's the ugly truth. Most men don't want to admit. Here's the psychology behind it. Affairs require oxygen. They need private time. They need hidden hours. They need excuses. And when those excuses start multiplying, what's really multiplying is the time she's spending with another man. If she says she's working late 3 nights a week, but the deadlines don't add up, or if she goes out with the girls you've never met, you need to stop swallowing those explanations like cheap whiskey, practical advice. Don't stalk her. Don't play detective instead. Watch for consistency. If she says she's working late, do the details line up? Do her excuses keep shifting, or do they collapse when you ask a simple follow-up question? A woman who's faithful won't feel threatened by a casual check-in, but a woman hiding something will get defensive, even hostile, when the truth is too close. That reaction tells you more than any sudden office visit ever could. And here's the part most men ignore when you stop being her priority. Someone else usually is. Don't fool yourself into thinking her calendar is just crowded. If she's no longer carving out time for you, it's because that time is already spoken for. So pay attention. Longer. Absences aren't innocent. They're the scaffolding of betrayal. And if you think that's painful, wait until you realize that sometimes the real betrayal isn't when she's away from you. It's when she's right beside you and you feel nothing but distance. Number 2, emotional and physical distance. Sometimes the greatest betrayal doesn't happen when she leaves the house. It happens when she's right next to you, yet miles away you can feel it. The way she used to reach for your hand without thinking gone. The playful touches, the long conversations about nothing and everything replaced with silence. Short answers or worse, indifference. This is not just about routine cooling off, it's about emotional energy being redirected. When a woman invests her intimacy, her laughter, her secrets, and yes, her body into someone else, there's simply less left for you. She can't give 100% to 2 men, so she withdraws from you whether she admits it or not. Here's the psychology. Cheating isn't only about physical intimacy, it's about emotional real estate. The new man becomes her confidant, her source of excitement, her outlet, which means you get the leftovers if that. You'll notice physical intimacy dries up, or when it does happen, it feels mechanical, like she's checking a box. Conversations shrink to one-word replies. It's not that she doesn't have things to say, she just doesn't want to say them to you. Now, distance can also come from stress, work pressure, or even health struggles. If this emotional gap keeps growing while other signs show up, you can't afford to brush it off your move. Don't ignore it. Don't beg for crumbs of affection either. Observe the consistency. If the distance becomes a permanent climate instead of a temporary season, that's your red flag waving in your face. Because when she starts pulling away emotionally and physically, it usually means she's pulling towards someone else. And if you think emotional distance is bad, just wait until you realize she's hiding the one object that exposes her double life the fastest: her phone. Number 3, phone secrecy. Let's be blunt. A woman who suddenly treats her phone like it's a nuclear launch code isn't just being private, she's hiding something. Think back. Maybe she used to leave her phone on the counter unlocked without a second thought, but now it's glued to her hand. She takes it to the bathroom, she flips it face down. The second she sets it on the table, she changes her passcode without telling you. And when you so much as glance at it, she reacts like you just committed a felony. Here's the psychology. The phone is the lifeline of modern affairs, flirty texts, late night calls, secret apps, hidden social media accounts. All of it lives there. And because she knows that one accidental notification could blow the whole operation, she guards that phone like her life depends on it. Men make one of two mistakes here. Either they ignore the signs because they don't want to seem controlling, or they snoop and cross a boundary that only makes them look weak. I'm telling you, you don't need to go digging through her messages. All you need to do is pay attention to her behavior. A woman who has nothing to hide won't panic if you grab her phone to check the time. A woman who's cheating will act like you just picked up a ticking bomb practical move. Observe the shift. Has her phone gone from casual to untouchable? Does she leave the room to answer calls? Does she suddenly smile at texts but never share the joke with you? These are not coincidences, they're patterns. And here's the gut punch. Technology doesn't lie. A locked screen, a defensive reaction, a sudden obsession with keeping you away from her digital life. These are signals louder than words, but as revealing as a phone can be, there's an even harder truth to face. Sometimes she won't say a word or send a text, yet her whole body betrays her secret through a glow she can't hide. Number 4, a new glow in her behavior. There's a certain glow that no skincare product can create. You've probably seen it before, not on her, but on someone else. It's that light in the eyes, the bounce in the step, the almost giddy energy that screams something or someone just lit me up inside. Now here's the brutal truth. If that glow isn't coming from you, it's coming from somebody else. A woman caught up in the rush of a new fling carries that energy. Everywhere she goes, she laughs more. She hums while getting dressed. She suddenly spends extra time fixing her hair or picking her clothes, and you're left wondering why now? Why the sudden spark? Psychology explains this clearly. The adrenaline of secrecy, the thrill of forbidden connection, the dopamine spike from new attention. It all creates an emotional high. And like any high it shows, even if she doesn't say a word, her body language betrays her. She doesn't need to confess. Her glow is already the confession. Of course, sometimes a woman glows because she's chasing a dream, hitting a fitness goal, or finding herself again, but when this glow shows up out of nowhere while she's also pulling away from you, that's when you have to question where it's really coming from. Your move. Stop dismissing it as just a good mood. Compare the glow with the state of your relationship. If she seems happier away from you, but indifferent when she's with you, that glow is not yours. It belongs to another man. Here's the kicker. You can hide texts, you can cover tracks, but there's one thing, she'll never fully erase the scent of where she's been, and that, my friend, is the next clue. Number 5, change in scent. Your nose knows. Long before your brain pieces things together, your instincts pick up on what doesn't add up. And one of the most overlooked but powerful signs of infidelity is a change in her scent. Think about it. For years, you've grown accustomed to the way she smells, her natural scent, her usual perfume, the trace she leaves on your clothes after a hug. Suddenly that changes. She comes home wearing a perfume you've never smelled before, or worse, she comes home smelling like cologne that isn't hers. And when you ask, she brushes it off with something vague like, "Oh, I hugged a coworker," or "I just tried something new." But here's the truth. Scent is intimate. It clings, and when she starts showering immediately after coming home, changing clothes right away, or obsessively masking her smell, she's not doing it for hygiene. She's scrubbing away evidence. Psychology backs this up. Scent is tied to memory, intimacy, and attraction. When someone has been physically close to another person, the body holds on to that trace. It's primal, unavoidable, and your subconscious can pick up on it even before you consciously notice. Here's what most men get wrong. They second-guess themselves. They think I'm being paranoid or maybe I'm imagining it, but your instincts aren't stupid. They're signals. Don't ignore them. Your move. Don't accuse her based on one whiff. Instead, notice the patterns. Is she consistently coming home with new smells? Is she overcompensating with showers and excuses? One change might mean nothing. Repeated changes mean everything, because here's the cold reality. Scent is the one thing she can't fully control. And once you've caught that trail, it's only a matter of time before other clues surface. And in today's world, one of the biggest trails isn't physical at all, it's digital. Her social media can tell you more than her words ever will. Number 6, strange social media activity. If the scent gives you primal clues, her social media gives you modern ones. And trust me, in today's world, no affair survives without leaving fingerprints online. So what should you watch for first sudden spikes in activity? Maybe she used to scroll casually, post a vacation photo here and there. Now she's posting more, dressing up for selfies, even sharing pictures that feel suggestive. Not for you, but for an audience she hasn't told you about. Second, her followers out of nowhere, she gains new names. Men you've never heard of, guys who slide into her comments with flirty emojis or inside jokes that don't make sense to you, and instead of shutting it down, she responds sometimes subtly, sometimes way too eagerly. The biggest red flag when she starts locking you out, you notice you can't see her stories anymore, or she accidentally restricts your view on certain posts. That's not a glitch, that strategy, because if she were proud of her activity, she wouldn't hide it from you. Here's the psychology. Social media is the playground of modern infidelity. It gives women a place to flirt, to get validation, to keep that thrill alive without needing to leave the house. The double life becomes easier, cleaner, but also easier to spot. If you know where to look, your move don't become the jealous stalker. You don't need to snoop through every like or message. Instead, pay attention to changes in her online habits if she's suddenly more invested in her phone than in your presence. If she lights up online but dims down in real life, that's your warning sign, because here's the hard truth. She can delete texts, block you from stories, and hide interactions. But there's one thing, she can't fully disguise the influence of another man on her language, and that's where the next clue appears. Number 7, change in language. Language doesn't lie. When a woman spends time with another man, it starts to leak out in her words, even when she thinks she's careful. You'll hear it in subtle ways. She begins using phrases you've never heard from her before. Expressions, jokes, even little pet names that feel out of place in your conversations. Suddenly she sounds different, and when you ask, "Where did that come from?" she shrugs it off like nothing. But here's the thing, language is contagious. We pick up the speech patterns of the people we're emotionally connected to. If she's around another man often enough, laughing at his jokes, repeating his catchphrases, those words creep into her vocabulary. And trust me, she's not learning them from a podcast. There's also the shift in tone. Maybe she used to talk warmly with affection. Now her words feel colder, sharper, or more distant. She avoids using the little terms of endearment she once had for you. That's not random, it's emotional displacement. The intimacy that used to belong to you has been redirected. Here's what you need to do. Don't get lost in the details of every sentence. Instead, compare her current way of speaking with the way she used to talk to you. Do the differences feel consistent? Do they repeat? If yes, that's not coincidence, that's influence. Most men ignore this because it feels too small to matter. But I'll tell you, the words she uses are breadcrumbs. They show you who she's giving her time and emotional energy to. If you dismiss it, you'll miss one of the clearest signs, because once her words change, her actions usually follow. And one of the biggest giveaways is when those actions take the form of sudden new hobbies she never cared about before. Number 8, new hobbies without explanation. Out of nowhere, she discovers yoga, or suddenly she's a hiking enthusiast. Maybe she's now obsessed with cooking classes or late-night book clubs. At first glance, it looks harmless, even healthy. But here's the problem. None of it adds up with who she was before, and more importantly, she doesn't want you involved. Look, people do grow. Picking up yoga or running could just be personal growth. But when these hobbies show up suddenly and she avoids sharing them with you, that's when it often points to someone else being involved. This is where men often fool themselves. You think, oh, she's just exploring new interests. Good for her. But reality check, people don't just reinvent themselves overnight without a trigger. And in relationships, that trigger is often someone new. A woman who's suddenly investing time and energy into activities she never cared about before might actually be aligning herself with another man's interests. Psychology backs this up. When we're drawn to someone, we unconsciously mirror their passions. It's bonding. She wants to share his world, so she adopts his hobbies. And here's the kicker. If those activities were genuinely about her personal growth, why doesn't she want you there? Why the evasions? When you suggest tagging along your move, pay close attention to the timing and context. If her new passions consistently exclude you, that's not growth. That's distance. It's not about yoga mats or running shoes. It's about loyalty. And if she's building a new world that doesn't include you, she's already halfway out the door. Don't argue with her about it. Don't beg to be part of it. Just recognize it for what it is. She's cultivating space with someone else. And when a woman builds a new life without you in it, she's telling you the truth without ever saying a word. And if that doesn't sting enough, the next sign will. Because once she creates that separate world, she stops letting you into her inner one. Her thoughts, her fears, her personal truth, that's when you realize you're no longer her confidant. Number 9, she stops sharing personal things. Remember when she used to tell you everything from her daily frustrations at work to the silly things that made her laugh? Maybe she even trusted you with her fears, her doubts, her private dreams. That kind of intimacy is the glue in a relationship. And when it starts to vanish, you should take it seriously. Now it's different conversations shrink. You ask how her day was. She says, fine. You try to dig deeper and she changes the subject or gives you nothing but surface level answers. It's not just silence, it's a wall, and walls don't appear out of nowhere. They're built to keep someone out. Here's the psychology. Emotional sharing is an investment. When a woman is emotionally invested in another man, she doesn't need to unload on you anymore. She's already doing it with him. The trust, the laughter, the late night talks. They're no longer yours. She's rerouted that intimacy to someone else, leaving you with crumbs. This is one of the clearest red flags because it's not about schedules or hobbies, it's about emotional real estate. If she stops confiding in you, it means your role in her inner world has been replaced. And once you lose that, it's almost impossible to get back without confronting the truth. Here's my advice: don't play the interrogator. Don't demand she tell you what's wrong. Instead, notice the shift and test her openness. Offer her space to share. But if she still retreats, understand that you're no longer the one she turns to. That silence is louder than any confession. And here's the painful part. When the conversations die, the future plans die with them, because once she no longer lets you into her present, she won't invite you into her future either. Number 10, lack of couple plans. This one hits the hardest because it's undeniable. When a woman stops making plans with you, she's already checked out. Think about it. What holds a relationship together isn't just the present, it's the shared vision of the future. Weekend getaways, anniversaries, even something as simple as let's try that new restaurant. Those little plans are proof that she still sees you in her tomorrow. But now silence. She avoids suggesting anything. Dates that used to be tradition disappear without a word. Anniversaries pass like any other day. You bring up ideas for the two of you, and she either dodges delays or flat out rejects them. That's not busyness, that's disinterest. Here's the psychology people plan with the person they're emotionally invested in. If she's no longer creating moments with you, it's because her time, her energy, and her imagination are already being spent elsewhere. She doesn't see you as part of her story anymore, so she stops writing you into it. This is the stage where men usually wake up because it's impossible to ignore. And while it's tempting to explain it away, oh, she's stressed, she's tired, don't lie to yourself. Relationships don't just drift apart without someone steering the boat in another direction. My advice: don't beg her to plan with you. Don't try to force traditions that she's already abandoned. Accept what this reveals. She doesn't want a future with you, at least not the kind you thought you were building. And the sooner you face that, the sooner you regain control of your own life. Because once the future plans are gone, the relationship is already over in her mind. The only question left is, what will you do with that truth? Now you've seen it. 10 of the clearest signs a woman may be cheating on you with another man: longer absences, emotional and physical distance, obsessive secrecy with her phone, a sudden new glow that doesn't come from you, unexplained changes in her scent, suspicious activity on social media, a shift in her language, new hobbies that don't include you, the silence when she stops sharing her personal world. And finally, the disappearance of couple plans. One sign alone doesn't prove betrayal, but when several of these start stacking up, you can't ignore it. That's not paranoia, that's reality, knocking on your door. And here's the truth most men don't want to face. Discovering these signs isn't about obsessing over her behavior, it's about reclaiming control over yours. If you notice these patterns, you have two choices: bury your head in the sand and keep bleeding slowly, or confront the reality and protect your dignity. A mature man doesn't fear the truth. He fears lying to himself because self-deception is the quickest path to destruction. The pain of betrayal is sharp, but the pain of wasting years pretending everything is fine is far worse. So take this as a wake-up call. Don't wait until your life is hollowed out. If she's showing these signs, it's time to step up, face her, and demand honesty. And if she can't give it, then you already have your answer. Now, if this video hit home for you, don't just leave quietly. Subscribe to this channel, hit like, and share it with another man who needs this truth. And in the comments, I want to hear from you. What signs stood out the most? Which one have you seen in your own life? Let's build a community of men who don't run from the truth, but rise because of it. Because at the end of the day, betrayal doesn't define you, how you respond to it does.